friends, welcome back to the Book Graveyard, vintage genre fiction book channel here on YouTube. We're out there in the podcast world doing the same gosh darn thing, talking smelly old paperbacks. I got a favor to ask you for this episode. I need you, all you parents out there, I need you to put those kids to bed, because we are talking sleaze. We're talking classic softcore sleaze paperbacks to enhance the romance in your pants this Valentine's Day. It's a very special Valentine's Day episode. So yes, adults only from this point on. I know I got a large demographic of youth. I don't have any. There's no youths watching this. Everyone is 30 to 80. So I think we're good. So this is going to be our after hours episode. Our Skinamax episode. Our USA Up All Night episode. Oh man. Do you remember USA Up All Night? I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, Ron, to hear your USA Up All Night, babe. And tonight I'm game to do anything. And that's what we're doing. We're going to be playing games while we're watching two incredibly hot films. Invasion of the Bee Girls has nothing to do with their cup size. And Hot Chili has nothing to do with the food they ate.
Man, I sure did love some Ron Shear when I was younger. Actually, we still love her now. Did you guys know that she has a YouTube? She has a YouTube channel right now, and she does new Up All Night episodes. You should go check it out. I'll put a link down there, down in the description. So what are we doing in this video? Well, I got a review for you. I'm going to review this here book, The Hustler, by Laura Pope. I tried to figure out who she really was. I have no idea. So we're going to review this first. Then I want to take you on a little tour through Sleaze Alley. It's dangerous. It's dangerous back in Sleaze Alley. It's a little smelly. It's dirty. This is a guide to sleaze books. This is a zine book. An annotated guide to vintage sleaze paperbacks, Volume 1 by Peter Infantino. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. But yeah, we're going to go through there. And then I'm going to do a little showcase at the end of my very modest sleaze collection. So stay tuned for all that, if all that sounds interesting to you, you little perverts. So we're going to try and be crafty with our wording during this video, so the YouTube hammer doesn't come down upon us. And I would appreciate you, dear listener, when you're putting those comments down in the comment section. I want witty sexual euphemisms only. Before we get started, I want to clear up some misnomers, some misunderstandings about what sleaze paperbacks are, what people think they are. Number one, they're not hardcore. They are not hardcore at all. They are not, I think, what most people would consider smut or porn. They're not that at all. I'm sure back in the 1950s and 60s, this was some hot stuff. This was risque. But to our minds, the world we live in now in 2026, this is a rated R movie. I wouldn't even consider it like NC-17. This is rated R stuff. So no need to worry if you think it's going to get weird. I mean, it might get a little weird, but I think the thing that really makes it stand out from being not smut, not hardcore, is that they are actually telling a story, that the sexual aspects of the story aren't the main focus. Like, no matter how naughty and salacious it looks on the cover, there is so much more going on than just like surface level stuff. Now, I've only read a few of these. I don't want to give off the impression that I'm some kind of expert. It's just what I've found. It's my opinions on the subject of sleaze paperbacks. From what I've read, they're often very dark. They're very emotional. There's usually a character that's having emotional misgivings about their desires and their actions. Also, what makes these books intriguing is they are kind of a time capsule of the era. Like, there's no way these books would be written nowadays. They're just not. I mean, we're so far past what they're talking about here. It's very adorable. It's very wholesome and adorable. The innuendos and the ways that the authors have to come up with creative ways to describe doing the deed It will make you laugh, make you chuckle at least. And the stories contained within, even though many were written by unknown authors of dubious talent, there are some very famous authors that did time penning these Sleaze paperbacks, including Donald E. Westlake, Lawrence Block, Robert Silverberg, Harry Whittington, and Evan Hunter. And then there's the cover art. Not as high quality as something like a Robert McGinnis or something, but it has its own stylistic uniqueness to it. I feel like the art style encompasses a bit of innocence while still being suggestive. Like when I picture these things, I don't know, it gives off the impression of like an old frat house in 1962. It just has one of these ratty old copies sitting on a table. It's more like that than, say, something that would make you imagine like a dark, dirty sex shop where you gotta go in the back behind the curtain to get these things. Like, it's dirty, but it's not that dirty. Alright, you guys ready for the review? We are talking The Hustler here by Laura Pope. Like I said, I tried to figure out who that was. I don't know. I couldn't find out any information. I don't know if it's actually a woman who wrote this story. That would be interesting. This was published by Magenta in 1965. Alright, so as I was recording this, I got an email from Stiv, who I wrote a couple days ago, and I asked him questions about this book in particular, and he's very, very knowledgeable about sleaze, about all vintage paperbacks. So I got this email after I was done recording, so I'm going to pop this sucker in about the Magentas. He says that they are reprints of earlier Playtime books. So Playtime Books was a publisher, and when they redid those books, they were under the Magenta name. There was 23 Magenta books that were published. And then he also said, unfortunately, that they would change the title and author name. So the author is not Laura Pope. And so yeah, so thanks Stiv for helping me out here, helping out the folks of YouTube with your knowledge. By the way, Stiv sells books like these. So I'll go ahead and put a link to his store in case you all are interested in buying your own Sleaze books. Stiv has some for sale, and that will be down in the description. Dacron Books. Now back to the review. And what's interesting about my copy here is every Magenta that I've seen pictured online has a notch missing here in the Magenta logo, and for some reason this one does not. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. I also couldn't figure out who did the art. I do like that art though. It's kind of it's a little wonky, but it still looks cool. Like I said, stylistically original. And I think that the guy looks like Alan Ladd. And I'm like, so it was hard not to picture Alan Ladd playing this part in this story. Alright, our protagonist, our hero, sort of, is Ted. Alan Ladd playing the role of Ted. He's a good-looking young hustler working as a waiter at Hillstar, which is a high-class resort in the Catskill Mountains. He likes to bed ladies, all kinds, all ages. And when I say ladies, I do mean ladies. These are not girls, these are ladies. But that's not the only thing Ted is interested in. He also enjoys money. He makes a lot of money working up at Hillstar. The story is told from his perspective in first-person narrative, so we get all of his insights in the world in which he exists. We open with a softcore scene of Ted bedding some rich man's lonely wife. Ted doesn't mind that she's 40. She's hot to trot and can't get enough. She wants Ted to spend the night. It's their last chance to be together. Her husband's gonna come up to the resort tomorrow, but Ted knows that there's rules against fraternizing with the hotel guests, and he might possibly lose his job if someone sees him walking out of her hotel at 6 a.m. in the morning. See, now it's 2 a.m., and this is the safe time. He can get out of there, sneak out, no one's around. But At 6 a.m., no good. She starts crying, and he watches her, kind of detached. He has a distant coldness to him. We hear his inner monologue, and he starts psychoanalyzing her and her husband, and the possible damage. He speculates about the damage that the two are doing to their children. What's funny is he feels like he should feel bad for what he's doing, but he doesn't. He actually thinks about the husband and how he likes him and how the husband's a good tipper. But at the end of the day, what the hell? If it wasn't him, it would just be somebody else, so he might as well. The next morning, he sees his buddy Bernie. Bernie is a journalist who comes up to the Hill Star on the weekends to just hook up with ladies. It's the only reason he's up there. And he'll bring literary books and he'll sit in the lobby and read them as all the women are coming in, as a way to get things going, impress them with his intellectual prowess. The two are kind of friends, but more in the aspect that they just respect the game in each other, because Ted is 100% a loner. He doesn't. I can't imagine Ted having friends. It's now Friday night at the Hill Star. The place is jam-packed with lots of ladies, lots of rich folks. Ted's doing his waiter thing, and he's damn good at it. He knows what people want. He knows what they want to hear. He knows when to get out of the way. And here is one of my favorite aspects of this book. The thing I enjoyed the most is his analysis of the people, how they behave in relation to who and what they are. Example, he has a table of teachers. He does not appreciate the teachers. He slams the teachers in this book. He says all teachers ever talk about is how little they are paid, which was kind of funny. I mean, yes, they are. They're grossly underpaid. It's wrong. At the same time, they do mention it a lot. So it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny that he says it. The thing about Ted, though, and you're starting to understand kind of his personality, is he doesn't give an opinion on whether he thinks if they're right or wrong, whether he thinks they are paid or underpaid or any of that, and probably never would cross his mind. The only thing that he cares about is that he will not be getting a very good tip. They're not good tippers, so he says. At his next table, he's got doctors who are also golfers. They eat light and healthy. Ted acknowledges that they make a lot of money and that they also don't pay all of their income taxes. And once again, no moral opinion about it. There's no ethics about any of these things that he's thinking about. What it all boils down to is how much the person he's waiting on is going to tip him. And to be honest, I'm kind of loving this so far. Kind of surprised, not what I thought it was going to be. The Ted character is very interesting. He's very unlikable. Like, he's a cynical and shallow opportunist, but he's also charming, intelligent, and perceptive. The narrative has a very removed, like, fly on the wall feeling to it. Even though Ted interacts with the world, he's very detached from it. I mean, he's someone who most of the guests probably don't notice or give a second thought to until they need him, and he uses that to his benefit. He has sparks of emotion, but they're very faint, and he only acts upon emotions after logically thinking them through. It's very odd. He's not a complete narcissist, though it kind of sounds that way, but he's very, very confident. He reminds me a lot of the Bateman character from Rules of Attraction. I know it was a Bret Ellis Easton book. I haven't read it, but I'm mostly from the movie. That's how I know it. But he really reminds me of the kind of like sociopathic, not in a killer way, but sociopathic mind of Bateman.
I don't really need to pretend because it's who I am. An emotional vampire. I just kind of expect it. Vampires are real. That I was born this way. That I feed off of other people's real emotions. Search for this night's prey. Who will it be?
But where's the naughtiness? I know. So from here we get another mild sex scene where he hooks up with the young lady who was sitting at Bernie's table. Don't worry about Bernie, he got the other one. And they got plans to switch them up tonight. Considering this is supposed to be triple X territory we're in, the scenes are pretty bland. I think it's more of a Shannon Tweed level of naughtiness to it. The reporter Bernie says, "Come here, I got something to tell you." They actually have this kind of witty back and forth banter that makes it very enjoyable. So Bernie tells him that there is a high-priced call girl here with a very rich and important, influential New York City businessman. And Ted is like, okay, what does that have to do with me? Because everything is all about Ted getting ahead. So he's like, I don't know how this has anything to do with me. But okay, whatever, thanks, Bernie. And then here is where Linda enters the picture. She's about the same age as Ted, which is 23 years old, you find later on. She's drop dead gorgeous with the body to match. Ted sees her and is immediately smitten. And also his first thought is like, it would take me a month's worth of wages to be able to afford one night with this young lady. They happen to be seated in his section, so he waits on them, and he happens to notice that they're not getting along, and she is flirting with Ted. So the inevitable invitation up to her room happens. Ted's funny in this scene. He's not like he's been so far in the book. He wants to get to know her as a person. She just wants to get it on. She starts kind of taunting him until he's like, okay, I'll show you what's up. Before he can get it in there, her John boyfriend opens the door. They're busted. Ted scurries away. The next afternoon, he sneaks back up to her bedroom after a very odd breakfast encounter where she mockingly taunts him by repeatedly telling him that she's a whore, this is what she does, and he is disgusted by it. He's getting angry. Yet, here he is, in her room again. This is the beginning of Ted losing his aloof exterior. Once again, all he wants to do is talk to her. He wants to get to know her as a person. She goes off the rails this time. She strips down, she gets on the floor, starts pleasuring herself, taunting him, moaning, repeatedly saying how she's the hooker, and this is what she does, and this is what she is for. And he is horribly upset by this, and he gets very angry, and he storms out of the room. So deep stuff here, surprisingly. Not surprisingly, Linda's a real person, man. She is cracking. She's cracking like an egg. You know, she's not just here to pleasure you, but that's the way that she is starting to see herself. And then why is Linda the one who melts Ted's cold, cold heart? Does he see himself in her? And that's why he's so upset when she's debasing herself. So the first half of this book is over. The first half of The Resort is over, and it's killer. I love it. I love this book. And then we get to the bottom half where it does a nosedive. He moves to New York City. He gets a job with a motivational research outfit, which is like a business that other businesses hire to figure out why people are buying one product over another. And Ted's still a hustler. He's just like, yeah, we just make stuff up. It doesn't matter. All of his coworkers are men. He doesn't have any friends. He's very lonely. And worst of all, he just cannot stop thinking about Linda. He has random sexual encounters, unbelievable sexual encounters. One is with a housewife turned hooker that he pays $10 for. And he's like, well, hell, since I'm having sex with this hooker, I might as well go call Linda, which he does. At Linda's plush apartment, she's doing very well. He is very shitty to her. He just rails right in, putting her down for her lifestyle, for her choice of life. And then she agrees. She agrees and tells him that her psychiatrist says that she's self-destructive. And I was like, oh man, this is like a little bit of Leaving Las Vegas now too. So we got Rules of Attraction, and now we're leaving Las Vegas. So they finally hook up. But she's like, hey man, you gotta get out of here. I got someone coming over at 6. No, you gotta get out. And, you know, of course, he's super salty. He thinks that, no, man, we're gonna get together. We're gonna be married and have family. And in the midst of putting her down, he tells her that he loves her. And she's so taken aback by this that she starts crying herself. But in the end, he has to leave because there's a John coming over. And here it becomes absolutely tedious where they just argue a bunch. They still try to hang out. They go out for a night on the town, and while they're out on the night of a town, there's this rich guy who comes up to her while he's in the bathroom and offers her a job for the night. She has to take it. It's too much money. Then he's mad. He goes back home. There's this weird, like, orgy happening in his, the little yard, his apartment, and some girl is sitting there and she wants to go upstairs with him. This is the kind of stuff that I expect from a Sleaze books. So this, and then there's this weird part where this girl he takes her upstairs, and then she's like, asks him all these weird questions, like how often married people do it, and then she's like, I want you to nibble on my arm like it's a piece of corn. Like, that's what does it for her, which was just so awesome. But all he thinks about is Lisa. The Playboy is completely gone. He's just so heartbroken. He's so pathetic in this part, and maybe that's the point. For a second, I thought maybe it was like, oh, he meets a woman, and the woman ruins him, and that's the point, but after seeing all the psychology in this, I don't think that that's it at all. Or maybe we're supposed to be learning something here, you know? Maybe this is more about a book about people who have self-destructive tendencies, you know? Or maybe I'm looking too hard. And a sleazy softcore paperback that was probably written in an afternoon. And then, spoiler alert, kids, Lisa calls Ted. She says that she's quitting the life, and he's very excited, but then immediately deflated as she tells him that she's going back to her husband, that they could never be together, that they're too similar, they would destroy each other's lives. At the end of the day, Ted goes back to the resort, back to being a waiter. The thrill that he used to get from hustling is empty. He feels empty inside. He sees his pal Bernie. Bernie comes up to him, and he's like, hey, you remember that expensive call girl I was telling you about? Ted's like, his stomach sinks, and he's like, yeah, what about her? He's like, I got sent out on a call to do a report, and I show up, and there's a woman who had jumped off 3 stories of the building and was splattered all over the sidewalk. And to my surprise, it was the call girl. Bernie is amused that back in the day he couldn't afford even one night with her, and now here he is at the scene of her death, like her brain splatter, like mushing up into his shoe. And it's harsh. It's harsh, but I get it. It's not unnecessary. It's not an unnecessarily gory explanation, because this is the way that Linda was telling Ted that this is how the world sees her. And the point is driven very hard into Ted's heart when he hears it. Ted feels terrible. But what's the point? Because life is misery. And that's the end of this story. So there you go. Needless to say, probably not what you thought it was going to be, not what I thought it was going to be. Man, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it up to a certain part, but that back half was just really... It was a bummer, them arguing all the time, and then both of them just slipping in that downward spiral, and then her death at the end. Good Lord. But I don't know. I guess there's a certain aspect of that kind of story that ends on that dark end. I'll tell you one thing. This was not sexy. This was not hot stuff. But it was interesting. It was entertaining in a thought-provoking way. So, yeah, I don't know. There you go. Good job, Laura Pope, I guess. Maybe it was an inspiration for stories like The Rules of Attraction and Leaving Las Vegas. Because it kind of had that same feel to it, honestly. I don't know. Why don't we take a look at Sleaze Alley now? Alright, we had Sleaze Alley here, Volume 1 by Peter Infantino. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope so, sir. This was put out by Cimarron Street Books in 2025, so it's pretty new. It looks like it was sold out directly from the publisher, but you can get it from Amazon. I'll put that link down in the description. My copy came from my wife. She actually bought it for me for my birthday, I think, last year. Very nice of her. So this isn't like a review copy or anything. Like, they don't know that I'm doing this video. I just wanted to put it out there because I think that it's really cool. I think everyone should go check it out. So Sleaze Alley is a zine book. It's laid out like a zine, I think, but it's in a book form, whatever you want to call it. So there is nearly 100 reviews that Peter Infantino has written himself. He's read all of these Sleaze books and given us a review. I haven't read anything else by Peter Infantino, but I am aware of his Bare Bones zine, which is a vintage genre fiction zine, which has a blog, and then they also have physical copies, so it's an actual physical product. And then he also was co-author of the book The Manhunt Companion, which is a guidebook for Manhunt magazine, and that was released by Starkhouse. You can get that on the Starkhouse website. We love Starkhouse around here. Also, according to the back here, it says that he is from Gilbert, Arizona, which is where I used to work when I lived in Arizona. It made me wonder if maybe we had crossed paths someday at the bookstore. Maybe he was down there on the bottom shelf. I said, "Excuse me, sir. Are you going to purchase that Lusty Vixens? 'Cause if not, I sure would like to." So what's great about this zine, other than the insightful and often comical reviews, is he's done the hard work for us. He's got the pseudonyms listed. He's got the cover artist listed, if at all possible. There are full color scans of the covers. Let's see if I can't find one here. There we go. Full color scans of the covers that he is reviewing. And he has a 4-star rating system where he judges the book on the story, the sex, and the cover art. I marked a few interesting ones in here, so I thought we might take a look and see what he has to say about them. First up is The Beast of Shame. From 1964, the author is credited as Don Holliday, but it is actually David Case. David Case was a horror writer, many excursions into the werewolf mythology. He even has an Arkham House edition of one of his books from 1980 titled The Third Grave. So this story is about a small-town detective with a bunch of murdered women on his hands. Also on his hands is a werewolf, and it's a horny one, and he lays a lot of babes, and then he slashes them post-coitus. Infantino tells us not only is this sucker entertaining, but that's a real werewolf in there. It's no bait and switch going this time. So obviously this one's probably going to be pretty costly. Trust me, I looked it up online. I was like, oh my god, I gotta read this. Werewolf Sleaze. Who knew? Who knew that it existed? It's another one of the benefits of having a book like this, is that you now know that this stuff exists. Put it on your want list. Go look for it. But don't buy it before me, because I really need it. Second up is Flesh Damned by Alan Marshall, aka Donald E. Westlake. This is from 1964. This one is a revenge story of a man who's out to kill 4 men that he blames for making his wife a drug-addled prostitute. He kills one of them. He does 4 years in the pen. And when he gets out, 2 of the other ones are already dead, and 1 exists, big fat guy. And this big fat guy has a set of young twins, as his girlfriends, sort of. I don't know, it's a review, I didn't read it. And like I said, they're adults. These are adult twins. And so when the enraged husband comes to kill the man, he sees the twins and he falls in love. And it leads to a very dark, depressing end for him. I don't know if you've noticed, this is something that I've noticed. Sleaze is very dark. It usually has a very sad, depressing ending. And here's another case of it. I just thought that this one was interesting because it's written by Donald E. Westlake, and I like a good revenge story. I like a vigilante. And then I also wanted to point out that, yeah, this stuff is dark. It usually has dark endings. And then finally, I grabbed the third one. It's the last one. This is Flesh Hammer by John Baxter. This is from 1963. So I picked this one because it is absolutely gnarly. It is about a serial killer named Jack the Hammer. He gets his namesake by smashing prostitutes with a hammer. Infantino describes it as a very involving mystery and also a complete splatter gore fest. And the way that he describes it in the review reminds me of a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. And I went and looked it up to see when Herschel Gordon Lewis was making movies. And in the very same year, he released Blood Feast. So I thought this was one that my listeners might like to check out. Some of my horror fans want to know the history of slashers and gore, that this was probably one of the first slasher gory books that existed. And that's Flesh Hammer by John Baxton from 1963. So there you go. There's a lot of stinkers out there in the world of sleaze books. And you know what? They're not cheap. Sleaze books are not cheap, so having a resource like Sleaze Alley is vital. Like I said, you can pick this up on Amazon. One other thing besides the reviews and all the cool photos and pseudonyms that I learned, cover artists, there's another book. There's a book called Sin-Orama. It was published by Feral House in 2004. I didn't know this existed. He kept referencing it in Sleaze Alley, so I looked it up, immediately bought it. Of course I did. And what's funny, as if the universe needs to tell me such things, on the checkout page after I paid, I scrolled down, and there at the bottom, if ever there was something that was meant to be, it's this right here. Alright, so while you're waiting for your new books to arrive, your Sleaze Alleys, your Sin-Oramas, might I also suggest checking out Gary Levisi's YouTube page, where he'll show sleaze books every once in a while. And then there is also the Vintage Greenleaf Classic website, which has I don't remember, I think 4,800, 6,300 scans of books and info and cover artists and all that. So yeah, it's all by the publisher Greenleaf, which was like an umbrella company. So a lot of these off-brand sleaze publishers are really just Greenleaf. So it's all condensed into this huge, amazing website. And there will also be all links for all this stuff down in the description. Why don't we flip it around, and we're going to take a look at my little modest sleaze collection. Hope you enjoy. Alright, here we go. If you hear any noises, that's the hardwood floors there. They're a little creaky. Sorry about it. I'll try not to move as much as possible. So I thought we'd start off with kind of some of the mainstream sleaze here. I'm not 100% sure that I would call this stuff sleaze. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of new to this stuff. These are my Monarchs. Flight to Taklama. Got some beautiful artwork there. We have In Savage Surrender, Sugar and Spice in Every Vice. That's what she was made of. Whitman Chambers. I love these Monarchs. We'll probably do a Monarch video someday. These are the sleazier of the Monarchs. Shanty boat lovers caught in a riptide of passion. Touch me not. Brian Harwin. Yeah, this is going to be the best artwork we're going to look at right now. The Monarch stuff. Rage of Desire. That one definitely looks sleazy, huh? Yeah. Gorgeous. Then there's a bunch of this 1960s, 70s spy sleazy stuff, but I don't know, it's kind of mainstream here. The Nymph Island Affair, The Mist from Sis. So it's all spy. The Man from Stud. The Lady from Lust. That's Gardner F. Fox. He also did the Cherry Delight series. So we're not going to show any of the Cherry Delights today either. Just wanted to show those real fast. So I don't know if I consider that. I mean, it's sleazy, but it's not in the era that we are talking about today. So I did just want to show those. Also, this is a Holloway House book here. Holloway House is known for the black authors, the blaxploitation. later on, but when they first started, Holloway House did Sleaze books. So this is probably a reprint of one of their earlier Sleaze books, because there's Caroline Munro there on the cover. Looking foxy. The Devil's Brand. But that's the only Holloway House Sleaze book I have. And then here's kind of something that's like an ace, right? So you're like, how sleazy is this actually going to be? But the cover definitely screams it. The Penal Colony. Get it? The Penal Colony. Double entendre. So yeah, I don't know how naughty it is, but I doubt it's that naughty. Then we got some of the later era stuff here where it's kind of like after Candy. This one talks about Candy a lot. And there's this baseball one which I tried to read and it was just absolutely boring. But they're very much like of the sleaze style, to where it's softcore, rated R type stuff, but very sexual. I don't know much about this one. Neon Jungle. But the finest in adult reading. And then we got let's see. Okay, and then we got this stuff, which is this is hardcore stuff. I only have 2 hardcore ones. This is a Sword and Sorcery XXX novel. So yeah, this is hardcore. I've read parts of it just because I was curious. What's funny is I found it like in the normal fantasy section, so like a kid could have bought it, but it was pretty dirty. And then there's Succubus Up, which you can see. I'll have to cover that up. But I got this one because look at this synopsis. Journey with us to inner space, where the Prince of Darkness sins against the flesh in his own private hell. He's only a boy, but he will do anything, anytime, any place, with anyone. Don't be afraid, take his hand. Satan will protect you in this, the most erotic adventure of your life. Go on, step forward into the open thighs of the succubus. We dare you. So, yeah, man. Satan erotica. And then here we are into closer to what we've been talking about. And this is a Midwood. This is a Michael Avallone. Midwood is one of the softcore publishers. Never Love a Call Girl. Lust at Leisure. Everyone knew Betty, the sex pot of the suburbs. So I'm assuming, I haven't read these, but they are similar to the Sleaze books that I have read, where they really sell it like it's just going to be hardcore scene after hardcore scene, but really it's there's an actual story there. That would be my guess. Alright, now we're into more of what we've been talking about this entire video. This is the era that is considered the Sleaze era. So yeah, Lady Cop, J.T. Pritchard. Her beat was Sin Street, her body was bait. That's some nice artwork there. This is a Beacon, one of the naughty publishers. We got the Flesh Merchants here, which is a Robert Silverberg writing under the name Don Elliott. A Reed nightstand book. Looks very James Bondish there. And we got an Ori Hit. Ori Hit is like, what does they say? The Shakespeare of Sleaze, I believe is what they call him. He had a ton of books. The Paperback Warrior has a really great episode about Ori Hit. You should check out on their podcast. There's another Ori Hit. The Promoter. I actually have a review of this one up on the channel. I reviewed it a long time ago, so it's before I really knew what I was doing, so it's a little slow and long, but slow and long in the way that it's I'm not editing. You know what's funny is this book, the synopsis on here is not what's in the story. It's very similar, but it has like different character names, and it's not the same plot exactly. I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny. Who's that? That was put out by, I think that's a Beacon also. Secret Sins, Ruth Lambert. I think this is a college one. Nope, I don't know. Here's a little later era Midwood, A Taste of Longing. This is the first one I ever read, and it was bland and depressing. Like apparently a lot of the Sleaze books are. It was about sex addicts, I think. It was kind of sad to watch them lives go down the tubes. And then here's a later, more obvious beeline, Lust, What the Doctor Ordered. The generic photo cover there. Kind of a peephole thing going on. Here's one of my favorite titles, Vicious Wench. And artwork too, I really like that artwork. It's nice. Got that in Arizona at a Half Price Books. Oh, it's got a real photo there. I wonder if she knew she was posing for a book titled Vicious Wench. Here's a bunch of women. Kevin North. I guess it's about this guy. This guy and a bunch of women. His for the taking. Hotel Hostess, Brad Curtis. Everything was provided for the pleasure of the guests. That's a Midwood also. I love those blues and those yellows. It's beautiful. Got another Beacon here, Shack Baby. Bolder Than Baby Doll, Bodier Than Tobacco Road. This is one of the backwood sleazes. Nice cover art there. Do we know who did it? No, I got it from the bookery. If he didn't write it on there, then I probably won't be able to find it either. Oh, here's another Ori hit. This is a reprint, though. You can tell from the cover. Torrid Wench. She's having a good time. Oh yeah, and then it's got 1-900 numbers on the back. You know it's a reprint. Don't call that number, guys. Here's one that I wasn't sure if it's a Sleaze, because it's Frank Kane, and I guess he was just like, yeah, it's fine, put my real name on there. This is one of the soft cover library books. So I don't know if that's necessarily a Sleaze book. It might just be a crime book. Search for a Lover. I can't explain. I've never felt so anxious for a lover in my life as I have lately. It's Merit. It's not cool. Here's one that we recently got. The Bamboo Doll. That I wasn't sure if it was Sleaze. And then the closer I looked, how could it not be? That's a beeline. It's by Lupo. That'll never not be funny. Okay, Wake Up Dead. William Wall. Papillon Books. I don't know that one. I've seen this cover on another book too, like it was repackaged. It was reused. So I don't know. I know that I got this from Stiv, and it was in his Sleaze section. And Stiv knows what he's talking about, so I'm gonna assume that it is. That it's sleazy. Here's a magenta. Here's that notch I was talking about earlier. Got this at Pulp Fest. City of Vice. She was a red-haired sex bomb, primed to rip the town wide open. Sometimes you'll see them like this. I think these are more of the rated X version. The groundskeeper and the lady. Yeah, see, there's no back synopsis, no cover art. Yeah, I don't know much about these. Here's another Robert Silverberg, Only the Depraved. The Sinwan Hotel was for only the depraved. It's a leisure. She's having a good time. Down on the beach, no clothing on. Got that one at Pulp Fest also. Here's Love Nest. He wanted other women, not his wife. I've seen that picture before somewhere, I can't remember where. It's in some nonfiction book about cover art. I can't remember. I think that's why I picked it up. Like I said, these things are like, I don't know, they're usually not $5, so I usually don't pick them up too often. Lust Doll. Dawn Holiday. She bathed wanton men in her sin and shame. A Sundown Reader. It's got a little pan flute logo, little satyr playing the pan flute. Flesh Queen, Sin Orgy. I bet it's totally mild. Totally. They just sell it like that. Oh, here's two more of the 60s spy ones. Man from Tomcat and a Peter Chambers X-rated mystery. That's Henry Kane too. Oh, we're focusing. There we go. And then also, if you're like, man, I can't afford it. I want to read a Robert Silverberg Sleaze, but I can't afford it. Well, here's good news for you. Stark House reprints them. So there you go. There's 3 of the Stark House reprints of the Robert Silverberg books. Silverbug. He's Robert Silverbug. For the kids. Anyway, yeah. So I did a review chat with Chris from Speculative Reader, and we did Gang Girl. So there's a video about us talking about Gang Girl up there. Still haven't read Sex Bum though. And these are newer ones they just sent to me. Connie, Meg. And here's one that's, I don't know if it's out yet, but here's an advanced reading copy that they sent me. Stripper, Never an Even Break. So as you can see, you've got options if you're interested in this. There's my Cherry Delights. We didn't cover Cherry Delight because she's part of that spy era. And also we're going to be doing a Cherry Delight video very similar to our Hawk video. All things Cherry. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching this super long video. I hope everyone has a very magical, very provocative, a very satisfying Valentine's Day. And I'm out of here.